Hello, welcome back to Liz and Sandro's Marketing Podcast. We provide insight and advice on social media, SEO, website development, and so much more. Before we get into the episode, we have a very quick favor to ask. Please take a quick moment to show us some love with a review on iTunes. We'd greatly appreciate it. Today we have our first roundup of 2019. Sandro is going to be doing a digital roundup with just a slew of updates that have happened in the last several weeks.
Thanks so much, Liz. There's been quite a bit going on this first month of 2019. First off, we'll talk some Google. Google is raising the price of its G Suite. For the first time in a decade, Google will be raising the price of its basic G Suite from $5 a month per user to $6 a month per user. This will take effect on April 2nd. In addition to that, its G Suite Business is going from $10 per user per month to $12 per user per month. And if you happen to be using the G Suite Enterprise, that price stays the same at $25 per month. As an overview, what is G Suite again?
So G Suite is great for solopreneurs, businesses, enterprises. It gives you access to the whole suite of Google products, Gmail, extra storage within Drive, video conferencing, secure messaging, calendars, all of the things you need to run your business. I have been using G Suite since day one of my business, and I actually think I'm still grandfathered into some kind of free account. I don't pay, and I keep going. Like periodically I will add, we have a new team member. I'll add them and I keep expecting to get a notification that I'm going to get a bill, but I don't have one.
Maybe you're on the annual plan because there was an annual plan. I don't think there is one anymore.
I don't think so.
I'll
check. I'm in the midst of doing kind of a final bookkeeping review, so I'll go back through 2018, but I don't think so.
Well, I love it for clients. If you own your domain,
through Google.
No, if you own your domain anywhere.
Okay.
Even through Squarespace. We have clients who have their domain through Squarespace. Then you want your name, like manager at so-and-so-business.com.
Yeah.
You can buy it through G Suite. You just have to prove that you own that domain.
Yes.
Yeah. So basically, G Suite is great. If you just want your own email address from your domain, G Suite's a way to go. Their competitor is Office 365 with Microsoft, but their pricing with this increase is more in line with Microsoft 365. You do get the whole Microsoft Word and PowerPoint and Excel with that, but
good point. I have set up both types of accounts, and I will say doing it through Google and G Suite is so much easier.
I agree. Next, some Google bad news. Spammers, you may want to check your Google My Business and Google Knowledge panel because anyone can go in and suggest an edit for your business on the Google Knowledge panel. Well, some spammers are using it to change the date of your business's opening. So say you've been in business for 30 years. We have one client, the restaurant's been around for 32 years. Well, a competitor could come in and edit it and say, you're not opening until March of 2019. And suddenly, if you don't fix that, you disappear from a lot of searches. You disappear from the maps. You disappear from everywhere until March of 2019.
That's so shady. And there's no way as the business owner to know who suggested that edit, correct?
Correct. To the best of my knowledge, correct. You can, if you log into Google My Business, it'll say there's a pending suggestion or there is.
Yeah.
Check it out. See if this is legit. But you don't get a notification either, to the best of my knowledge. So,
all the more reason to be checking Google My Business every couple days at this point, if people are being shady.
Next up, social media. Twitter has a new interface on its website. You may be logging in on your laptop or desktop and see in the right-hand column, check out the new Twitter. There's a few changes that we've noticed, Liz and I. It looks cleaner. It looks friendlier. It looks a lot more like the mobile app. There is one thing I see that's missing, though, and that's the location button. We have clients in other cities, and when we respond on Twitter, we click that little location button and type in the name of the city that they think we're in, even though we're not there. So it's one way you can edit the location you're in. But there's no location button on this new Twitter that I'm seeing. There is the night mode is more prominent. I love night mode.
Love night mode.
It's a little easier on the eyes. It's a darker version of Twitter. And it also now has the data saver version, which is kind of weird, but it doesn't load any videos or photos unless you tap on it. So it saves your data if you're using a cellular connection or you're in a part of the world where data is extremely expensive. Liz, you took a look at the new Twitter and
Yeah, so you showed me, what new Twitter looks like. This is not a ton of changes, by the way. It's very subtle. But what was striking to me is I took a step back and I was like, think how much Twitter has changed in a decade. I remember when I first got on Twitter in 2009, and it was the bright blues and lots of colors, and the way Twitter looks now, it's a lot sleeker, a lot simpler. I like it. I'm not a huge Twitter user, but the interface is much more pleasing to the eye for sure.
Agreed. And I love that you're not seeing the fail whale. When they were growing, they couldn't build up their servers fast enough. They would crash at least 2 or 3 times a day back in the day. And it was a very bright blue fail whale.
Yes.
That bright blue seems to be gone completely.
Yeah. But it was a little jarring. Like it was intense. I love night mode. Once you showed me how to go into night mode, I've never gone back.
Check your settings on Twitter and go into night mode, even on the app, on the Twitter app.
Yeah.
Next, Instagram was caught selling ads to people who sell followers on Instagram, which is not allowed. So if you want to buy followers, there are many, many places to buy followers on Instagram. Well, Instagram was caught selling advertisements to people who sell followers on Instagram, which is kind of funny.
Yeah. And actually, I'm not familiar because I don't use these services. So I don't really know how they work. Is this someone who has created some code and they run the script or whatever? That's probably not even the right terminology, or maybe it is. But they run this code and it goes in and like auto clicks a bunch of profiles. Is that how that works?
To the best of my knowledge, and also from watching Silicon Valley.
Yes.
Was a great show. It's kind of going downhill. On HBO, there are actual people, it seems like in India and Myanmar.
Wow.
And yeah, so it seems to be actually people doing it for pennies.
So very labor intensive. Wow.
Next, I wanted to talk about Firefest quickly. Over the weekend, I watched both of the documentaries, and they're fantastic. I saw someone tweet, I need more than 2 Firefest documentaries. I need at least 10 of them. And if you don't know, Firefest is...
It was a music festival that was supposed to take place, a year or 2 ago in the Bahamas. Some big names were going to be headlining. And truthfully, I've only watched the documentary trailers, but I did do a little bit of reading when it was all blowing up. And yeah, I think it was just a disaster. One bad decision after another, and the festival never happened. People showed up wanting their money back. A lot of lessons to be learned, I think.
I think so too. But they did mention the power of social media. And I love the one analogy one gentleman mentioned, and that was basically they reached out to 400 of the top influencers on the planet on Instagram, and everyone posted the same bright orange, neon orange square to their Instagram accounts at the exact same time. So people around the world would be like, why is this orange here on my feed? So there were hundreds of millions of followers seeing these orange blocks, and that helped build up the Fire Festival. But once the Fire Festival happened, they mentioned this kid who was 21, 22 with 400 Twitter followers posted a picture of 2 pieces of white bread and a very sad piece of cheese in between. And this was supposed to be the deluxe food served at Fire Festival. Gourmet food.
Yeah.
And it was just a white styrofoam box, 2 pieces of white bread and a piece of cheese in between. And he posted it on Twitter, and that blew up. So the Bella Hadids, the Kendall Jenners, the sports figures, the models, the hundreds of millions of people, their followers, took to build it up. It was all torn down with one simple little guy with 400 followers in a sad-looking sandwich.
Isn't that crazy?
The power of social media.
With one tweet.
But they also mention how difficult it is to stop people from scrolling, how difficult it is to interrupt people from seeing the same thing over and over and over on Instagram. And I think they did a great job of doing that with that orange square. So there's some lessons to be learned in many ways, but social media, it talks about how difficult it is to get people to stop and look at your Instagram posts organically.
Yeah. Interrupting, that visual interruption takes a lot of thought and creativity.
And one of the things they're being sued for, and they mentioned, is that they were deleting every negative comment. People were asking, where's my tickets? How do I land? Where was my luggage? Everything. They just had people actively deleting. And they're being sued for that. Yeah. That's one of the many things they're being sued for. That's something we would definitely advise against. You can deal with the negativity. If it's a legitimate negative comment, deal with it, take it offline, and deal with it there.
Yeah, we've talked a lot about that. Yeah. Address it and then take the conversation offline.
Finally, if you do a lot of events, Facebook is now allowing users to share events to their Facebook stories. It even includes a nice button where people can mark interested. Liz and I tried it. Basically, you'll go to any event on your Facebook, click the share button, and one of the options in the drop-down will be share to your story. Share this event to your story. And once it is, there's an option where everyone can see a button to be interested. So even more ways to share events. And honestly, we had a meeting with our biggest client last week, and talking about Facebook, the only organic juice we're getting, the only organic reach we're getting is with all the events. That's just spreading like wildfire. And we're noticing the more people opt into events, then the new events, they get even more reach. So events are currently, whatever their algorithm is on Facebook, events are the biggest way we're reaching people organically right now.
The hidden gem right now.
Correct.
Good.
So maybe consider making more and more events for whatever your business is.
I think that share feature is really helpful. I like it.
And that's our wrap up for January 2019.
Awesome. Well, thanks for these updates, and thank you for joining us. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app. You can find us on iTunes, Spotify, and Google Podcasts. You can also check us out on social media. We are on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Like I said, send us some love on iTunes with a review, and we will see you next time.